All right. So we are recording now. And you're all muted. Okay. So, sitting in your chair. And let's start out with, we talked about having something to place between the thighs so that you can feel the activation of that core. The core line. So when we think about core, like maybe you all could point or put your hands on wherever you think your core is. Is your core in your head? Put your hands on where you think your core is. Okay, that makes sense. A lot of you are pointing to your bellies. This is like when you think about like the core of an apple, you're talking about your center, right? And but the core actually has a line to it that helps to activate. And I've talked about this before, but in terms of where it's all connected, right here at the inner arch, up the inner seam of your pants, closest in, so the muscles and connective tissue closest into the bones, so like the core of the leg. And then as you squeeze the block, you're activating the core of the legs to help activate the pelvic floor, which is the floor of your core, and then up through the spine. So, so if you give your prop a gentle squeeze, not a death grip, but a gentle squeeze, you can feel perhaps a little more of a lift, which is what we want. We don't want to, we have gravity coming down on us all the time, and we can give in to gravity and droop, which a lot of us do. But with the gentle squeeze of the block, you can defy gravity a little more and sit up tall. Okay, and again, don't do it a death grip. You want to have to be able to maintain this for a little while. So a gentle grip on the prop. And then let's bring your attention down to your feet to make sure they're even on the floor. And even if you have shoes on, that they're even inside your shoes. And you might even feel that the legs are getting a little trembly with a little gentle squeeze of the block, and that's very telling. And all it's telling you is that, okay, we need a little work here. And then the buttock bones on your chair. So sometimes one is tucked under more than the other or more weighted than the other. So left to right. So if you had a scale, you had one of those weight scale, those old-fashioned weight scales like that, you would want the weight, the two little trays, to be even with each other through the buttock bones, right? And then from there, press the hands down onto the thighs gently and use that to lift up through the sternum, lift up through the center top of the head. And then roll the shoulders back and down and turn the palms open on the thighs. So just noticing now, we're just going to play a little bit. If you roll the palms down on the thighs, what happens to your shoulders? And then rolling the palms open on the thighs, what happens to the shoulders? So the palms open helps to broaden across the shoulders. Feel the shoulder blades in the back. So put your mind's eye on your shoulder blades in the back. And imagine those shoulder blades like your hands. So your hands are open on your thighs. And now imagine your shoulder blades like big hands on your upper back. And now imagine that those hands are gently encouraging your shoulder blades to move in, especially the bottoms of the shoulder blades to move in a little bit and up. So you're not jutting your ribs forward. Don't do that. But just a gentle lift behind your heart. And then the head is drawn back a little bit, so the chin tucks in a little, so that the ears are in line with the shoulders. You feel a long back neck, so it's not pressed back firmly. You don't have that military neck. There's a soft curve forward of the neck, but it feels long. And just imagine that you have balloons tied on the bottom of the skull. like in the occipital area, if you know that. So right at the base of the skull, imagine that there's little balloons there and they're just lifting the bottom of the skull up towards the ceiling. So you feel nice and tall and lofty there. Good. Now let's bring our attention to the breath. So slowly breathing through the nose. So you want to bring some attention to the face first, softening the eyes, across the forehead, the cheeks. The lower jaw is separated from the upper jaw, but the lips are closed. And then feel the breath moving in and out of the nostrils, slowly and quietly. And feel the quality of the air this morning. Does it feel heavy? Like your breath. Does your breath feel heavy? Does it feel light? Does it feel shallow? Does it feel deep? Does it feel quick? Does it feel slow? Does it feel jagged? Does it feel smooth? So you're just noticing these things without any judgment whatsoever. Just almost like a scientist writing down in a little log, what is your breath like this morning? No stories, no judgments, just what is it like right now? And then whatever you're feeling, so perhaps it's a little shallow, you're feeling more chest breathing. See if you can bring it lower down into the belly, even placing one of your hands on the, not low in the belly, but lower in the lungs, so the lowest ribs. So if you place your hand on the lowest ribs and bring your focus there, the breath becomes deeper. And if your breath is quick this morning, focus on slowing it down so the exhalation becomes a little longer. And then notice the little pause at the end of the exhalation. This calms the nervous system. And if your breath feels a little jagged, little catches, then visualize something silky smooth like ribbons or pouring water from a pitcher, that smooth action of flow, moving in and out. And then if your breath feels heavy, bring it light, having a softer feeling as if you're only breathing an inch away from the edges of the nostrils. Bringing a lightness to the breath by breathing in very lightly, only from the space between your upper lip and your nostrils, and out lightly in the same space. So your posture supports this breath. So if you happen to have started to droop a little bit, bring your attention back to the lift of the spine, the evenness, left to right, the gentle squeeze on the block. Good, and then let's take this excellent posture and slow, low breathing into our movement practice today. So just for now, to give our legs a little break, go ahead and take that block out. Just set it aside, we'll come back to it. And then place the palms together in front of the chest. So we're going to work on the upper back a little bit. So this is upper back core work. So as you inhale, you're going to widen the arms out like wings, and the shoulder blades press into the upper back. So you get that little lift again, the hands lifting behind the heart. And then as you exhale, bring the palms together. And we'll continue that just for a few rounds. Inhaling, the hands are a little wider than the elbows. Feel the lift behind your heart, shoulder blades pressing in and up. And exhaling back to center again. Inhaling again, widening the arms, shoulder blades pressing in and up. Exhaling without drooping the shoulders, bringing the palms together. And on our last round, inhaling, opening up into this W shape. Stay here, keep breathing softly, and let's do some shoulder rolls. So you can soften up the hands a little bit and just keep the arms wide as you roll around in the shoulders, waking those shoulders up a little bit. And so you're rolling, but you're also undulating a little bit too. So getting out of a pattern that you do over and over again, try to mix it up a little bit. And feel those shoulder blades moving around on your back. And noticing also where there's clicks and pops and sticky spaces too. And just nice and gentle. Movement is what creates hydration in your tissues. So here, think about that as you're moving around, that you're creating moisture and a smooth glide in your body. Good, and then just let that go out so that the shoulders relax a little bit and let that go out into the arms all the way through to the ends of the wrists and the fingers. So undulating those places around as well, the wrists, the hands, the fingers, thumb, get your thumb involved. Every finger does a little movement and stretch, curling and releasing. And then finally, we're going to open the chest. So it's like you're taking the palms open and opening up and then curling in. So this is for the upper back and shoulders and neck. Inhaling, it's kind of like a little cat-cow, but it's in the upper body, opening. So the palms are open. And then exhaling and just rounding a little bit, stretching the upper back. So with your focus on the upper back, when you take the palms open, squeeze the shoulder blades, like you're trying to hold a pencil between them. And then as you exhale, the palms go down, roll the shoulders down, and now you're widening between the shoulder blades as your head bows a little bit. Let's do that one more time. Inhaling, opening up, the shoulder blades press into the back and then squeeze towards each other. Activate those muscles. And then exhale and round the palms face down and behind, bow the head. Now to come out of this, we're just going to come back to neutral, so not at the extreme little back bend, but just an opening here. And then go ahead and allow the palms to rest on the thighs. Keep the shoulders open. And just feel for a moment any particular sensations in your shoulders, hopefully good. And again, it's not, that's thumbs up. It's no pain, no pain. So if there's any movement that doesn't work for you, then you need to back off or even stop. And that's up to you. And especially in this Zoom format, it's harder for me to know what's going on for you. So being extra attentive to your needs. Let's go ahead and stretch the lower back. Do a little forward bend here. And again, doing it with mindfulness. I'm just turning so that you can see a little better. So you're going to keep, so when we did this opening of the chest with the arms open, you're going to have that same feeling as you lead forward with the chest and lay the belly down on the thighs and slide the hands down the legs and allow the head to relax. So before we do a little more core work, we want to give the lower back a stretch. So here, just allowing your torso to rest on your thighs and your head to relax completely. So you're not trying to hold it. And just take a couple breaths here and breathe into your low back. Breathe into your back ribs. So you want to feel that you're expanding your entire back body towards the ceiling. This is really good for lung health, because that is the biggest surface of your lungs, is the backside of your lungs. It's the biggest surface of your lungs. So here you're opening up that area. And now to come out, you're going to lead with the chest again and use your hands for support. So go step by step with me. Place one hand on each thigh. And then as you inhale, come up halfway and bring your head with you. Pull back the chin a little bit and come up halfway, leading with the chest. Exhale here, draw the navel back. Use your hands on your thighs to help swivel up from the hip crease all the way up tall. Now just take a moment. There could have been a little bit of a dizziness that could have happened with the head down. So let's just take a moment to equalize. Okay, everybody good? Nobody dizzy or anything? Okay. If you do feel a little dizzy from that forward bend, just stay here until you feel like you're back again. Okay, now let's go to our strap. Everybody has a strap of some kind, a belt or something. Scarf? Good. Okay, let's go ahead and slip it over the right leg. Under the right thigh. Okay, so under the right thigh, and this again, I've talked about it before, is just a little passive support for the leg, not at the expense of the hands gripping too hard or the shoulders rounding. So make sure those shoulders are back and down, and that your grip on the strap, I'm going to come forward a little bit so you can see better, is with the palms up. So if you have the palms down, like when we did that little warm up at the beginning, what happens to the shoulders? Go ahead and try it. Okay, so if you have your palms down and you're holding on to the strap, then your shoulders are rolled forward. Okay, that's not really what we want because that's the tendency of the shoulders. We want to counter that by the palms rolling up and the shoulders rolling back and down. Okay, so holding onto your strap lightly with the palms facing up and feel the left foot on the floor firm. And as you exhale, take your right knee up without curving your lower back. And exhale down. So what I mean by not curling your lower back is when you take the knee up, your back stays straight, opposed to, we're not doing that. You keep the spine nice and tall and just lift the knee. And if it doesn't come up very far, that's fine. Don't worry about that. You go ahead and do that a few times. Bring that knee up with a very light grip on the strap. Palms stay open, shoulders stay back and down. Exhaling the knee up, activating your core muscles. And then on your inhale, the knee goes down, or the foot goes down. Good. And now we're going to add something here. As you exhale, the knee comes up. As you inhale, the heel pushes out. Exhale the knee back in again without rounding the back and place that foot down. Exhale the knee up. Inhale the heel out. Splay out the toes. Open those toes. Exhale the knee back in again and place that foot down. Let's do that one more time. Exhaling the knee up. Inhaling the heel out. Stretch through that back leg. Exhale, take that knee up again. Light grip on the strap. And then place the foot on the floor. So you can release the strap. You might have felt some strength happening in the front of the thigh, the hip flexors here, the outer hip perhaps. Good. And then if you were gripping the strap, despite my encouragement not to, let's just take care of our hands and wiggle them around a little bit before we do the other side. Okie doke. So taking the strap underneath the left thigh and then rotating the palms open towards the ceiling, shoulders back and down, and a firm placement of your right foot on the floor. Okay? And now, before we even get started, let's make sure we have a nice, firm core. So as you exhale, let's get that squeeze of the belly, excuse me, back towards your spine, and a little hug around your middle. And then inhale, lengthen up through your spine without letting go of that core. And now on your next exhale, lift the knee. And we're just testing it out here without stretching the leg. Can you lift the knee without taking the spine into a rounded position? You want to keep your spine nice and tall. So right now you're just finding where that's at for you. Where can you lift the knee and keep the spine tall? As soon as you start to round the back a little bit, you've gone too far and you have to back off this next time. Okay, good. All right, now that you found that spot, let's add the second part. So exhaling the knee up, inhaling the heel away, splay out those toes, widen the toes, and then exhale the knee in towards the chest again, keep the spine tall, and exhale, inhale the foot down. Exhale the knee into the chest, inhale the heel away from your body. Exhale the knee into the chest. Keep the chest lifted. Inhale the foot down. Let's do that one more time. Exhale the knee up. Inhale the knee, heel away, straightening the knee, swaying the toes. Exhale the knee in again, open the chest, and inhale the foot to the floor. Now you might notice you can take the strap off to the side. You might notice that the one leg was a little, weaker than the other. You felt more work on one side. So again, that's a little information for you without a judgment going on there. Just, oh, that side's weaker. All right, let's link the fingers together so they're interlaced and the fingers are on the outside of your hands. And then just press the palms away. And then wherever you need to have your hands, palms pointed, so maybe they need to be pointed down more towards the floor to get the shoulders to relax. And so the shoulders staying as far away from the ears as possible. See if you can lift the arms without those shoulders lifting to the ears. And exhale and back down again. So again, we're just testing this and getting length through the elbows as well. Shoulder blades are still pressed into the back, so you're not letting the upper back round. And exhaling down, good. And then flip the palms towards your body. And do the opposite catch. So the other pinky is on the bottom, fingers are on the outside, might feel a little weird, right? And then again, flip the palms away from you and find the spot where you can keep those shoulders low. And then move the shoulder blades into the back so the chest is open, so you're not collapsing. This is not what we're going for. We're going for a pulling in of the shoulder blades so the chest opens. Then keeping that, start to bring the arms up without the shoulders lifting. Find what the sweet spot is. Without the shoulders lifting, where you can take your arms up and down. So we're just lubricating the shoulder joints a little here, opening the wrists and the hands. Good, and one more up and down within your range of motion. Get through those elbows too, as much as you can straighten your elbows. And then down, flip the palms towards you and unlink your fingers. Good. Okay, so let's get into a little more hip stuff. We're going to, so you're facing forward, you're going to take one leg out to the side without turning your hips. Okay, so it might not come out that far. So your hips face forward. In fact, you might even want to just put your hands on your hips just to make sure. So if you put your hands on your hips and then you just swivel your right leg out to the side, how far can you take it out without that right hip turning with the leg? Okay, let's bring it back again. And again, out to the side. And back in again. We're going to do that a few more times. Your hands are on your hips, so you know that you're not pivoting on your seat. You're not turning up the pelvis, but you're using that ball and socket right here at the hip. And some of you may, because of replacements or something, may not have that much range of motion, but any range of motion that you can do without pain is good for the joint. Good, and then take that leg out, and then let's keep it there. Good, and sit up tall. So now you're going to glance down at your right foot and make sure that it's in line with the knee. So a lot of times we turn the foot out more than the knee. Get the knee and the foot on the same page. Okay, and then make sure that your left foot is nice and firm there on the floor. Both feet are firm on the floor. Your chest is facing forward, right? Inhale here, and as you exhale, you're just going to take your forearm onto that leg that's out to the side, your left thigh. So one thing that you want to make sure of is when you take that arm out to the side, and I see it in a few of you, is that your chest doesn't collapse down. So if that's the case, first of all, you want to see if you can inhale and open up the chest. And if that doesn't really work all that great, then you can come out of the side bend a little bit. You could even put your hand on your thigh rather than your forearm. If you feel like you're really cramped down like that, come out of the side bend a little bit. All right, good. Now we're going to take the left arm, and as you inhale, just within your range of motion, let's find out what that is. Take the arm up. Good. How far can you go without hurting your shoulder? Your left bottom is glued to the chair, and then exhale it back down again. So we're getting into the side ribs now. Another very important part for lung health and breathing health is keeping your intercostal muscles, which are the muscles in between the ribs, nice and supple, so they can open up and receive the breath. Good, and then we're going to do one more time in this side bend. Go ahead and bring the arm over so you're in your curve here on your left side, and take your hand on your shoulder and just do again, kind of like what we did with a little undulation in the shoulder, but just the top shoulder. So make sure that you're moving up the shoulder and not just at the elbow. It's easy to just scribble around the elbow, but make sure that the shoulder blade on your left side, the top side of your shoulders, is moving. Okay, and if your neck starts to feel a little tired, you can look down towards your right leg. Okay, but now let's bring that elbow in line with the shoulder, reach the arm like a toe line has just been dropped, and you're going to grab it, and on an inhale, press through the feet and come up. And then swivel that right leg back to center. You're getting stretched out yet? Okay, but only one side of us. We have to do the other side. Okay, so let's go, and we're going to play around with your left hip motion, and this will be most likely different than your other side. So you're paying attention. How much can you, let's take the hands on the hips again. How much can you swivel that leg out on an inhale without swiveling at the hips, without swiveling your bottom on the chair, and exhale it back. So we'll do that a couple times so you can find your range of motion. Inhaling the leg out, exhaling the leg back in. You're working with that ball and socket joint. Please do not swivel in your chair. Don't turn your hips in the chair. Keep your bottom glued to the chair when your knees are forward, and keep it that way when your leg goes out. Don't move the buttock bones. Exhale back. And last time, inhaling, take the leg out and have the heel underneath the knee and the foot pointing the same direction as the knee. And it's going to be different for all of us, and it's going to be probably different than the other side that we just did, and that's fine. So you probably feel a little stretch happening on the inner leg, a place we don't usually get that stretch. And then sit up tall, so you feel nice and tall in the spine on an inhale, and then on your exhale, come down to the side bend. So the forearm is resting on the thigh. If you find that your chest starts to roll towards the floor, see if you can inhale and open the chest and roll the chest towards the ceiling. If it still doesn't want to do that, you can come up out of the side bend a little bit. Okay, looks like everybody's good. And now take your right palm up towards the ceiling. And let's see how much motion we have here on this side. Gluing your right buttock to the chair. Reach within your ability. Only go as far as you can comfortably go. And exhale it down. And watch the neck. So you want to keep the neck in line with the spine. Don't let it droop. You're just keeping the neck nice and neutral as you reach and curve into your your right ribs. And exhale down. And then again, inhaling up. Reach into those ribs, the side ribs. We'll do like a little C shape there. And exhale back down. And then on this last time, we're going to bring the arm up and only in line with the shoulder, and then place the hand on the shoulder and do our undulation here. So how is this shoulder different from the other one? More clicks and pops? Less mobility? Or is it the other way around? So for you, this is your right shoulder. And so if you're right dominant, it might be a little more stiff. Okay, and remember that when you undulate, you're undulating from your shoulder blade, not the elbow. So that it's like the shoulder blade's the motor. It's the driver of the movement. So feel the circular action around the shoulder blade. Okay, and then the elbow comes in line with the shoulder. Stretch out the arm. Somebody just dropped that toe line. Grab it and press through the feet. Inhale and swing yourself back up again. And then bring that leg back to center. Okay, so there we did some hip openers, right? All right, so let's go ahead and do just a little cat-cow and then we'll come up to standing. So cat-cow in the chair, you want to move the pelvis. So your bottom is fixed on the chair just by the nature of sitting. But when you do cat-cow, you want to feel that your bottom is rolling on the inhale so your tail goes up, and on the exhale, your tail tucks under. Okay, so you're getting the full range of motion in the spine from the pelvis. Okay, so sitting up tall to start with, your hands are involved in this action. So as you inhale, the hands pull back towards the hips and the tailbone lifts. And you do a little back bend, opening the chest. Lift your gaze. Then as you exhale, tuck your tail, round your back a little bit, and let your chin relax. And then coming back, the hands draw back towards the hips, lifting your tail. And be careful of the back neck. Keep it nice and long. And then as you exhale, the hands slide towards the knees as you round the tail. And relax the head. And 2 more times. Inhale, slide the hands back, open the chest, squeeze the shoulder blades towards each other. And then as you exhale, round the back, tuck your tail. And then on an inhale, we're going to open the chest in our cow position, actually. And then on the exhale, you're just going to come to neutral. So nice tall spine. And then we're going to come up to standing. So have the heels back a little bit from your knees. So just an inch or 2. And right here at the hips is where you're going to hinge from. So what we want to make sure when you come up is that you don't come up by dragging yourself up like this. Okay, that's really not very good for the spine and oftentimes can lead to little spinal fractures. What you want to do is to, just watching, hinge at the hip crease, and then we're going to just float the arms out. You keep the spine long, press through the feet, and then just, this is your hinge right here, okay, not the spine. So let's go ahead and put the heels tucked back about an inch from the knees. The arms are just floated out to the side. Right here is your hinge at the hip crease. And on an inhale, keep the chest open, the spine nice and long as you come up. Use those thigh muscles, thigh muscles. Yes, good. Excellent. Okay, and just, you know, those exercises that we did like this when we were sitting, really help to activate getting up and out of a chair. Okay, so we are going to, let me think about how we're positioning the chair right now. Let's go ahead and put it on your left side so that you have support of the chair if you need it on your left side. Good, and you're standing nice and tall. So again, one of the things that happens with gravity is that it's always pulling us down. And it's easy to just give in and droop. So remember how you had that prop between your thighs when we started class? And you're going to give it a gentle squeeze now, imagining the core of your legs supporting you. And the thighs are firm, kneecaps are lifted, shoulders rolled back and down, and the palms open, broad across the shoulder blades. And then a line lifting you up from the center top of your head. This is our beginning position, and in some ways, this is a balancing position. You might notice, if you bring your attention down to your feet, that your weight is constantly shifting left and right. So finding equanimity in your pose. Trying to minimize the amount of shifting left to right that we are doing right now. We're all doing. And how still can you become in this position? How still? Good, and then taking that stillness into our next pose. You can take your hand on your chair, your left hand on your chair for support if you like. Take your left foot forward, stepping forward just, I don't know, about a foot or so. And then the right foot back about a foot or so. But the hips stay forward. Your hips face forward. So when you step that back heel back, make sure that it hasn't twisted your hips. You can still get that back leg hip around. Good. And now on an inhale, we're supposed to take, excuse me, your right hand on that right hip. And make sure that it doesn't swing back. As you inhale, lengthen your spine. And as you exhale, come into a little lunge. And the back heel stays on the floor. And now as you inhale, come back up. So the front leg straightens. And then as you exhale, use your core muscles. So a little hug around your middle here, coming down. And then inhale back up. So again, it's kind of hard for me to see everybody, but just glance down at your knee as you exhale and see that the knee is in line with the foot. So sometimes we tend to roll out or sometimes we roll in. But if you had an arrow on the front of your knee, it would point right over your toes. Inhale up and exhale down. Now let's stay in this lunge. So the back heel is your anchor. Ground down and make sure you have your right hand on your hip, that right hip is rotated towards the front. Then take your right arm down. And as you inhale, swing it out to the side. Good. And then as you exhale, pull the elbow down like a big train whistle, pulling down. And then inhale out to the side and up. So we're getting a different angle on the shoulders here. And as you exhale, pull up at the core. So you're pulling up at the lower belly. Feel an action there. Let's do that one more time. Out to the side and up. Reach. And as you exhale, pull down. So get into those side ribs again as we do this exercise. Good. And then release that arm. Push off the back toes, step halfway forward, front foot halfway back, till you are back in your mountain pose again. And just stand with the feet even with each other. So you could glance down, make sure that the feet are even, hip width, and stand up tall. and then we're going to do the other side. So swivel the chair around, however you want to do it. And make sure you're nice and stable before you shift your legs. So now the right foot comes forward and the left heel goes back. Placing your left hand on your hip, make sure that your hip is rolled towards the front so that your hips are even. Okay, so now one other thing that could help with stability is to shift the back foot over to the side a little bit so that it is in line with the hips. It's easy when you step back to like have the heels in line or even cross over the front leg, but having the legs in line with your hips or the width of your hips is best for balance. Okay, inhale here. And as you exhale, we're just gonna come down into the lunge, no arm movement here, just keeping that left hip facing forward. Inhale, back up again. Exhale, anchor through the back heel and gently come down into the lunge. If your back heel starts to lift, then don't come down anymore through the front knee. Inhale, back up again. Exhale down into the lunge and stay. Good, and make sure that as you exhale, you're activating the core. So there's a lift from the lower belly. Now that left hip is still facing forward. Take the right arm out to the side, sorry, left arm, your left arm. Inhale, reach up. And then we have the big train whistle here. Exhale, pull it down. The big rubber band from the sky. And then extend the arm out. Circular action here. Reach up, spread the fingers. Exhale, pull down. Make sure that your right knee is still facing forward. Inhale up, but it hasn't wobbled in or out. Still in line with the foot. Exhale, pull down. Good, and then release that arm. Push off the back toes and bring that front foot forward and go back into your standing position. Good. Now, right at the beginning of class, we had a prop between our thighs. Can you find that prop again? So I have a block, or you can use your blanket or your pillow or whatever you have. And then go ahead and place it between the thighs. Now, if you feel more comfortable, we are going to do a little balancing here up on the toes. If you feel more comfortable to have the chair in front of you, the chair back in front of you, go ahead and do that. If you feel okay with keeping the chair to your side, you can do that. Whatever you feel most comfortable for stability for you. Okay, so there's the gentle squeeze of the block. And now as you inhale, you're going to come up on the toes. And as you exhale, come back down. And as you inhale, come up on the toes. And as you exhale, heels down. Now on this next round, we're going to stay in the lift for a breath. And when we do the exhalation, you want to feel this hug around your waist. You want to feel a little zippering action in the lower belly. That'll help your core and balance. So here you have the block. Inhale, coming up. You're going to stay on the toes. And as you exhale, get that little corset action around the waist. Inhale here. And as you exhale, back down again. Strengthening those calf muscles. Let's do that again. Inhale, coming up. Exhale in that little squeeze around your middle, little hug. Inhale in that position. And then as you exhale, gently lower the heels. Nice. Okay, go ahead and take the block out. And then if you're not faced towards your chair already, turn towards your chair. Hands on the outside of the back of the chair, and then just come into a forward bend. So we have to stretch out the calf muscles, stretch out the back muscles, so you can do a little bit of undulation here in the hips, bending the knees a little bit so that you can do little circles in the hips, hit all these different points along the torso. And do a few times in one direction and then a little hula hooping the hips in the other direction. Remember, mobility is hydration for your tissues. So here you're just hydrating in the hips, hydrating in the legs, and in your side body. Even up into the shoulders, you might feel a little bit of a tug. Okay, now bring the hips even. Look up at your chair and walk in towards your chair. And then turn back around again and again. If you feel like the chair in front of you is good, then keep it there. Just so that you can see better, I'm going to keep the chair on my side. So if you have your chair on the side, it's most likely still on your right side. You're going to bring a little more weight into the right leg and the right foot. And then lift up that left leg and set it back down again. Lift up the left leg as much as you can without rounding the back like we did in the chair. And set it back down again. And then exhale the leg up. Inhale the leg out. Exhale the leg up. Inhale the leg down. Sound familiar? We did this sitting. Now we're just doing it standing. So you exhale the leg up. Inhale the leg out. Oh yeah, I kind of forgot. If you have the chair in front of you, that's sort of hard. Exhale the leg in. And inhale the leg down. And now go ahead and just lift the leg and hold it. There's a lot going on here. The standing leg is working. And at the same time, the lifted leg is working all around the hip. You can probably feel that in the buttock area, in the thigh. And then you have to hold your core, keeping your spine nice and tall. Good. And then release. Okay. I am sorry, I forgot about the leg extending and the chair would be in the way. So it's probably best to swivel the chair around for the other side and be more prepared. And you have it there for support. Okay, starting in your neutral mountain pose, leaning a little bit more over into your left side. And standing tall, take your right knee up without rounding the back and set it down. So on exhale, lift the leg, keep the spine tall. Inhale it down. Exhale the right knee up, and now inhale the foot out, so it could be pointed towards the floor, it doesn't need to be high. Exhale the knee in again, and place the foot down. And again, take that knee in. So this is core work. Inhale, spread the toes, stretch through the heel. Exhale, activate your core as the knee comes in, and inhale down. Good. And then finally, we're just going to take that leg up and hold. So what does it feel? So this is a little endurance here. Is this harder or easier than the other side? What's happening in your hips? Are they screaming for you to stop? Or is it just fine? Okay, just another breath. And then go ahead and place that down. And then again, face your chair. We're just going to do, again, stepping back so the heels are underneath your bottom. Make sure your shoulders are back from your ears. Bend your knees slightly and just do some hip circles. Because that was a lot of work in the hips. That was a lot of work in your outer hips. Those are your stability muscles. Outer hips, outer legs, thighs, buttocks. So here, just give them a little stretch as you do your hula hoop circles one way. Keep the knees bent so you don't hurt your knees. And then little hula hoop circles in the other direction. Make sure you do both directions. And then once you finish, come to neutral. Look up at your chair and walk in towards your chair. Good. All right, so take a moment before we move just to make in case there was a little bit of dizziness. And then we're going to sit back down again. So position your chair to face the screen and stand in front of your chair in your mountain pose. So the feet are at hip width, feet are even with each other. And remember our hinge right here at the hip crease. So we're not rounding our way down into the chair. You're keeping your spine nice and tall. And bend the knees, that's your first hinge. Bend at the hip crease, that's your second hinge. And then there's your beach ball that you're holding as you gently set yourself down in your chair. Nice and gentle. Awesome. Okay. All right. So sitting up tall. So this is also mountain pose. So sometimes when we've done a lot of work, and I feel like we have in this class, you know, you sit down and you're like, oh, thank goodness, you know, and you just get like all slouchy again. But this really is a pose. So you want to sit up tall, and let's start with the feet again. So whenever you're bringing your attention to your position, your posture, you start from the ground up. So having the feet be even on the floor, left to right, front to back, heel to toes. And then up through the buttock area, make sure left to right is even. Remember the scale, you want both little trays of the scale to be even on the chair. And then press the hands down on the thighs gently and use that to lift the spine tall. And then roll the shoulders back and down and turn the palms open. Let's just take a moment to focus in on the breath. Feel the breath moving in and out of the nostrils, the lower jaw is released away from the upper jaw, the lips are closed, and you're breathing through the nostrils. And now what is the quality of your breath? An hour later. We worked a lot on opening up the side body, the back body, the front body, moving around in the shoulders and the hips. How has that affected your ability to feel balanced? How has that affected your breath in balance? And the ideal breath pattern is slow and low. So let's work on that just a little bit to finish class, a little breath work. This is usually how I finish my own practice every day, as I do my movement and then I end with a little breath practice. So sharing that with you, let's take the one hand, doesn't matter which one, on the chest, and one hand on the lowest ribs. And we're going to work on the low part first. And you might already have it there, but let's just bring our attention a little more to it. So when you breathe up and meet more of the chest area, you lose a lot of surface area for oxygen to absorb into your system. So we want a more circulation in the lower lungs, where your lower hand is at the lowest ribs in the front. But it's not only in the front, it's all the way around. So you want to imagine this circumference as you inhale, widening out, down to the lowest ribs, on the back body, the side bodies, and the front. And then as you exhale, it narrows in. So that the more that you can have flexibility in this area, the more your breathing apparatus is healthy and strong. So feeling that strength in the diaphragm. As you inhale, feeling the pressing out around the circumference of the low ribs, and as you exhale, feeling the narrowing in. And the hand on the chest is just ensuring that you're keeping a passive energy there so that you're not actively breathing in the chest. Yes, there will be some movement, but it's not where you're initiating movement. It's at the bottom where your main breathing muscle is, the diaphragm. So working that a little bit. And then let's just move our hand position to finish up here and just emphasize that lateral movement. We worked on the lateral body quite a bit in our class today, so everything should feel a little loosened up. And so taking the backs of your hands on the side ribs, and if that's hard for you with your hands, just try to find a place where you can, maybe it's fingertips, some type of contact at the lowest ribs in the side body, like right where the side seam of your shirt is. And then as you inhale, now push into your fingers. And then as you exhale, your fingers follow the narrowing of the ribs. So we're exercising the diaphragm a little bit here. Pressing into the fingers as you inhale, widening out to the sides. And as you exhale, following. So the ribs, the fingers gently follow the ribs, giving a little pressure. 2 more times. Inhaling. Exhaling, narrowing, feeling that diaphragm working. One last time, pressing the ribs into the hands, to the sides. And then exhaling, narrowing it. Good. And then release the hands, do a little circling of the wrists and fingers. And then bring the palms together in front of the chest. And just feel any difference in your breathing, in your body, even in your mood, in your attitude, in your mind. Has anything changed? And then this gesture, the hands together in front of the heart space, is a gesture of gratitude. So allow your heart to fill with gratitude for your body, for all that it does for you and all that it's done for you over the years. Appreciation for your body and your breath, and your mind, and your inner light, your spirit. And for this practice of yoga that helps us integrate all those parts of ourselves into wholeness and health and happiness. And then anything else you'd like to bring into your heart this morning with gratitude. And then gently open your eyes, and the light within me greets the light within you. Namaste. Okay, I'm going to turn off the recording.